I was a broken, vulnerable toddler sitting in the back seat, like rocking. You always have to trust your instincts, and your intuition always knows.
So you entered Parliament in 2017.
You could be like young and female and whatever, come from this background, and you could walk the halls of power just as confidently as anybody else that came in through their tracks. You don't have to have done things in a particular way to get to where it is that you want to go. Life is a box of chocolates. You don't want to be seen as weak. You don't want to be pitied upon. You can never say never, because you don't know what tomorrow will bring.
July 2023, that was the night of the car crash.
Yep.
New Zealand Justice Minister Kiri Allan resigns over careless driving charges. It's the fucking Guardian.
Yeah. The shame and the regret and knowing it caused all this harm. I knew that suicide was my only option, and it was just a matter of time.
Have you forgiven yourself? This election, who do you vote for?
I will vote for...
This episode of the Dom Harvey podcast has been brought to you by the legends at Odoo. If you scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description of this episode, you'll learn more about Odoo, and you can support the people who support the show. If you run a business, you'll know how quickly the tools can stack up. Invoicing, accounting, sales, inventory, projects, your website. Odoo brings it all together. It's an all-in-one business management platform with over 45 apps built to work seamlessly together, helping you manage your entire operation from one place. You can try Odoo free for 15 days with no credit card required at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com. Odoo, all your business on one platform. Kiri Tapu Lindsay Allan, welcome to my podcast.
G'day. Thank you for having me.
I was going back through our messages. We've been going back and forth setting this up for two years now.
It's like a fine wine. Good things take time.
So how are you today?
How am I today? I'm good. I'm a little tired because I've been running around and driving around all the country, but I'm really good and I'm excited to be here. So thank you for having me. Yeah,
we're recording this in the middle of July 2026. It was almost exactly 3 years ago. Actually, this time 3 years ago.
Yeah.
From an outsider's perspective, you're on top of the world. You're the Minister of Justice. You've got this massive career. Fast forward like 2 weeks in 3 years' time, and your whole life and your whole world and career and everything had imploded.
Totally. So about this time 3 years ago, I think I'd been really down. I was probably in one of my lowest slumps I've ever had in my life, maybe. It would have been up there. I really wanted to leave my work. I think I would even been off on mental health leave, or I was, there or thereabouts. What else was happening? You know, it was just a whole range of things had just all collided at once. And so that would have been where we were exactly 3 years ago. And then just things keep building up. And you guys saw a car crash. That actually wasn't even the tip of the I mean, that was a tip of an iceberg. But things got a lot worse before they got better. Yeah.
I mean, it's still fairly recent, eh? Like three years ago. Is it? I mean, you've obviously done a lot of work, and there's been a lot of unpacking and rebuilding. Is it okay to talk about now?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think part of writing a book is about, sharing stories, and hopefully by sharing stories and what you do actually is hopefully that other people can perhaps take something away that might help them in their lives. So I'm really happy to share my story with this. I think one of the things, it took a long time to be able to say that though, and one of the things was just like carrying so much guilt and shame, because I felt like I'd just let everybody down. I'd let myself down, let my family down, but I'd let so many other people down that had put their trust and confidence in you, And it took a very, very long time to go through that healing process with yourself, learning how to forgive yourself. That, it really took time and a lot of processing. But now looking at the events and the time and what was going on, I regret being an egg on the night in particular. But two, I've come to that place where I've forgiven that person and gone, okay, pal, we're not going to hold you in locks and shackles forevermore. You made a mistake, and here we are.
Well, there's so much to unpack, but I'm pleased you're happy and healthy and well today.
Thank you.
In terms of man, I've done so much research, and there's so much to discuss here. In terms of the biggest adversities you've been through in your life, I've got like a catalogue here. There's coming out when you're part of a religious family, the pressures of Parliament, cancer, criminal charges, relationship breakup, mental health struggles. What would be like the worst on the adversity scale?
Probably cancer.
Yeah,
that was a real bugger. That one, that was tricky. I think probably feeling like, having to come to terms with death, and it was over a long period of time. Things like you've got a matter of hours to decide whether you want to biologically carry children because they have to start the treatment and you have to agree or not agree. Then you've got the treatment I had was very, very aggressive. That was because of the stage where the cancer was at, and it was aggressive. It was really tolling. And it was just a really hard time. Things like the car crash, that was up there. But probably all the surrounding events were really there as well. Life's a box of chocolates sometimes, isn't it?
As the great philosopher Forrest Gump.
Said, yeah.
You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, that's
and
exactly
every now and then you get a bite into a Turkish delight.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you a Turkish delight hater or a lover?
You know what? I've gone through a process where now I can't stand them, but as a child I was into them. So yeah.
People who like Turkish delights are weird.
I think so too. Yeah. So is my kid.
Oh, yeah. So your kid is like 6 now?
No, she's 8, almost 9.
Wow,
and she's up to here on me.
Oh,
so
my God.
By the time she's 11, I think we're going to say sayonara. She's going to be thwanking me.
Oh, because I've absorbed as much information as what I can about you the last couple of days, knowing that this podcast is coming out. You made a great joke about when your baby was born, you were in Parliament.
Yeah.
So your partner was doing the feeding and stuff, and you referred to your partner as Fonterra, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, that's where the milk flourishes from.
So you got this book out now, Go Hard or Go Home. How do you feel about it? Are you nervous about it? Does it feel like your diary's going to be available in Whitcoulls and Paper Plus?
That's exactly how it feels. Your diary's going to be available in Whitcoulls and Paper Plus. And when I decided to write the book, or at some point during the writing process, I was like, if you're going to tell this story, then be honest with yourself and with the reader, because it's from that honesty and from that sharing of stories that I think it brings about a wholeness within ourselves and within our communities, within our friendships. Storytelling is a healing magic potion. So I decided when I wrote the book that I was going to do that. And now that I've written the book, I'm like, oh, damn.
Have you got a mild case of anxiety every time you think about?
Oh, mate, that's why I have not read the book. And, when people ask you questions about it and they have, you're like, did I write about that? Did I? Okay. So I know that there's a lot of material in here that is quite challenging. There's also some stuff in there that's just funny and silly and probably interesting if you don't know heaps about politics, what happens behind the main backdrop. But yeah, it grapples with a whole range of different issues. I think that hopefully some of it's relevant to other people's lives.
What will readers learn about you that they could never have got from just one headline or a couple of headlines?
Yep. I think probably the way that I was raised is probably going to be, it won't be well known to many people. I was one of 9 children in separate families, and I was adopted out, and I lived in a very Pentecostal, fundamental Christian family, and that shaped who I was. Came from a family where there was a lot of violence, and that was very pervasive in the home, and that was the home I was adopted out of. And, all those types of things, they shape who you are, the way that you form attachments, how you engage with people, etc., etc. I think probably, too, the other thing that a reader might find is that I've lived a very unconventional life. There was no sequencing of ABC. It certainly went A, Z, F, Q, G, and somewhere all around in there in between. It's an unconventional life story, and I think why I want to tell that part of the story is I want others to know that, you don't have to have done things in a particular way to get to where it is that you want to go. Life is a box of chocolates. It is very much dependent on, it's a little bit of work ethic, it's a little bit of good timing, it's a little bit of being open to the things that present themselves to you, and giving stuff a go sometimes. I'd hope that by telling that part of the story, people were like, okay.
That's some great lessons in there. All right, well, let's talk about the early years. Did you just say I thought you were baby 9 of 10?
9 of 10.
9 of 10. Okay, so huge family. And I hope I get the pronunciation right. Is it fungi? Fungi out?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Which is like quite common in like Māori families. So am I correct in saying, so you're baby of the family, or near the baby of the family?
Yeah.
And then your nana wrote a letter to your biological mum saying, hey, she's going over here.
Yep, that's it.
Why?
Like I said, there was a lot of complications in the household that I was born into. And also my whāngai mother, who's my mum, she couldn't have kids. So Nana, being who she was like, made the intervention. Yep, look, this is what I can see in the home. Also, this one needs a child, therefore you're giving it. So, and that was, it was a process done with a lot of love. It's also, though, I think, had a lot of complications in one's life following, but not because of any ill intent. It was just because, I was 6 months old and you form attachments to here and there, and it's, those things carry with. But very much it was an act of love.
What did that do, positive or negative, to your sense of belonging?
I think sense of belonging has always been something I've really grappled with, because I think, I keep talking about like these like attachment bonds. When they are disrupted when you're younger, it does make it harder to form bonds. Well, that's been my experience. Probably everyone's different. As you grow older, you're a little less trusting of, I was certainly a little less trusting of, people, others, relationships, and never feeling like you really belong somewhere, because you'd always thought you were going to have to leave. So, it's had lifelong kind of ramifications. But in saying that, like I said, it was done as an act of love, and I'm very grateful for it.
I was involved in a family adoption, and a nephew came to live with us at the age of 4 years and 11 months. And I had so much therapy on his behalf, so I learned so much about the first 1,000 days and attachment disorder and abandonment issues. And I learned that when this kid would start like acting up and pushing us away, it was because he wanted us to retreat, because then he goes, fuck, another person lets me down.
Exactly. Told you so. This is always going to happen. Unfortunately, that's been my lifelong trajectory. So anyway, we're working through it. Therapy
it's my
helps.
superpower.
Hey.
Okay, so best memories what were you like as a kid?
As a kid, see, me and Mum and Dad, we always talk about this. I think that by and large I was a pretty happy kid. I think I was a clingy kid. Dad doesn't reckon I was. I just remember always sort of feeling like I had to shelter under Mum, like wanting, like she used to wear these big beautiful skirts and dresses, and like kind of being tucked into them. But no, I lived a real rural regional New Zealand life, raised in a little place called Paengaroa, which is just outside of a little place called Te Puke, which is just outside of Papamoa, which is just outside the mount. So it's a really small community. There would have been about 500 people there. And I went to a private Christian school. It was run on our pastor's farm. There were about 30 to 50 kids that would go there. And we were very much enmeshed in the church. So that was my community. But we got to do cool stuff like raft racing and bombs off the kaituna. We were white baiting all the time. The kids got to go where, I was one of the younger ones, but maybe let's say I was 6, and some of the kids might have gone up to 15, 16, and big mobs of us kids would go and camp up the river without the parents. We'd go run the farm. We were milking cows at the crack of dawn, and it was a really cool childhood. And despite my not participating in church activities anymore, what was really cool about that was that there was this really strong sense of community. So it was a pretty cool childhood.
Were you a good kid? Do you remember the most trouble? What was the naughtiest thing you did?
I was a really good kid.
Were you?
Yeah, I was a really, really good kid. Naughtiest stuff didn't really happen until I moved to Auckland when I was like 11. Oh, no, how old was I? 10, something like that. And then that was a bit of a culture shock. But as a child, I remember one naughty thing I did. Gosh, so around our church, it was in this old hall, and they had those concrete walls, foundations. So church concrete foundations, and there's these wires that run through as little vents. Well, some of the kids had worked out that if you smashed them, you could get the wire out, and we could chase everybody with wires. So we went and smashed all the vents under the church, these concrete blooming things, and ran around with the wires. And I went up to Mum and Dad. I was like, "Yeah, look at this! We got our wires. We got some superpowers." Dad's like, "Where's that from?" I was like, "There." Yeah, so I was grounded, and I wasn't allowed. Yeah, I got a smack.
And what did you dream of being? Because no kid, as far as I'm aware of, has ever dreamed of being a politician or a lawyer, even.
No, I wanted to be a firefighter, a farmer, and then later on a pilot, an airline pilot. Yeah. And then I wanted to be in the army and go to the police force. Yeah.
Well, you didn't end up doing any of those things.
I didn't. I ended up being like a postie and a hammerhand and what else did I do? I picked cherries at some point. And
you did have a goal. I don't know if you remember this. Maybe this is an old interview that you don't even remember, but you had a job at KFC and you aspired to work at every KFC in New Zealand.
Correct. Yes, that was absolutely my ambition. I got the job at 15 and I knew that I could travel New Zealand by going to work at every single KFC, and that was why I was intent on doing that. I got to 3.
That's not bad going.
That's
pretty good.
Massey in Auckland, then I had the Mount Maunganui and Te Puke.
When was the last time you went to KFC?
Oh, she's a while ago.
Yeah, oh, really?
Yeah. I still like it, just she was a little while ago.
Do you have a go-to? What's your...
Yeah, so I tend to eat quite a high-protein diet. So I get the minced patties because they've only got salt and pepper in them from McDonald's. And you just get 3 minced patties without the bun and the burger and all the rest of the bits and bobs. And they're only like $3 or $4 for a patty.
Oh my God, that sounds really posh though.
Oh no, it's just like they slump them together in your McDonald's box. It looks terrible,
Right.
But if you eat them when they're warm, totally bearable.
Right. What about the sexuality stuff? Like, when did you first realise you were gay?
Oh. Probably like 16, I think. Yeah. And I was working at KFC, and one of the girls there at KFC was intent on telling me, like, you're a gay. I was like, no, I'm not. And so then I decided, well, God, if it wasn't just her. A lot of people were saying that. I was going out with the captain of the first 15 at our school, and we went on a sports tournament. And as a consequence of that sports tournament, I met a girl in the sports tournament, and it made headlines in our little small circle, and then all of a sudden you're out at school, and all of a sudden you're gay. It actually took quite a long time for me to process what that meant, because I had to sort of carry a bit of bravado, because we were Christians, we don't like that sort of stuff. But because I got caught kissing a girl on a school trip, you just had to go out and front foot it. Otherwise, you're going to, So I did. I front footed it. Yep, that's what's going on. But man, internally, it took a very long time to come to peace with it.
Yeah, that's a lot. Because it's sort of like your like narrative is taken away from you.
It is, yeah.
Was that a scary time with your religious family?
Oh, it was incredibly scary. Mum and Dad didn't know then, and they wouldn't know for probably about another year, I'd say. I think somebody else told them anyway. But yeah, no, of course, because it's that clash of all your beliefs about yourself, about your values, your principles, the way that you've been brought up, about what love is, and what it is. Again, if you were to be this kind of homosexual, you couldn't belong to the church then anymore. So there goes all your community. So a lot of those things were really interesting to grapple with. Yeah. Did
you sort of, because of your religious background, try and talk yourself out of it, or
100%
talk yourself straight?
Yeah, no, I went through. So I kind of gave you the end of that story. The earlier parts of that is that I went to this one church, and And it was kind of like went through this whole process of praying the gay away, conversion therapy, those types of things. So we went through that and just felt very, very sinful all the time that was even a thing. So when the girl said to me at my work, you're a gay, I hated it. I hated her for that. But it turns out she was right and I was wrong.
So you dropped out of school at 16, eh?
16, yeah.
How come? Why did you drop out of school
Probably
at 16?
a bit of that. It was a bit of there was a lot of that more social stuff. I'd done quite well at school. I'd always done pretty well at school. So I think I was a little bit bored. I think that a lot was going on, like social life, like all of this gay stuff. I just transferred to another school because I went to Bethlehem College in Tauranga, transferred up to Massey High School, couldn't stand it. I just was like, what's the point? So my dad decided I'd had too many days off and he marched me down to the office, signed me out and took me down to KFC. Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, with what you know now as an adult woman, do you like the boredom at school? You think that's probably ADHD?
Yeah, interesting question. Yeah, certainly probably could have played into that a lot. I was just, like I said, I was good at school and then you'd sort of get everything done and you've got this long to be bored. I think, the ADHD stuff played out through life, quite intensely, and just it was never. And I kind of get so over all the the neurodiversity, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So I refused my diagnosis for quite some time. My therapist put me through the testing process twice because I disagreed with the synopsis and their diagnosis. So so I was kind of always really like, nah, that stuff is just little boys who freak out and run around like they've had too much sugar. Like, I'm not one of those. It's not me. Turns out it's not the whole it's a lot more, nuanced than that. So
it's a spectrum, I think.
It's a big spectrum, that's right.
But you're so right in the 70s, 80s and 90s, or maybe even early 2000s, it was the naughty boys in class.
100%.
The ADD kids.
Yeah. Oh, it's the ADDs, And then if they were really, really I think maybe when did Ritalin come along? I remember when, the young boys started to get Ritalin and everyone was like, wow. But so times have changed, getting diagnosed with ADHD, and I had a few other bits and bobs as well, and was it's actually been a real saving grace because everybody's different with how they manage things, but for me, getting the right medication coupled with the right therapy and then just lifestyle stuff really changed my life like black and blue, so that was one of the things that fell out of the crash. It was actually getting a diagnosis a little while after. And then, once I got onto the right medication and all that sort of stuff, the therapy, life just changed. 180. I was just like, what the heck has been going on here?
Yeah.
If you only knew. But, so that's been helpful.
So you leave school at 16, work at KFC. Then you hitchhiked to Blenheim to become a cherry picker.
Yep.
Yeah, dreadlocks at the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You weren't on the fast track to a great career at that point, were you?
I had no aspirations of any type of career. I wanted to get a job.
Really smart. You're obviously really smart though. Like you proved that later on. You obviously had this potential in you.
Yeah, I mean that's what everyone would say. Oh, potential. And I was just like, well, you know what? I just want a job. So I wanted to get a day shift at the mill down the mount at the wharf, and be like my older cousins who had cool cars, a house, and that was what I wanted. And that was about as big as it got until that trip down cherry picking was really, it was a pivotal turning point in my life because what happened, I'd come from these small little communities, knew what you knew. I had hitchhiked down there. I don't know if I mentioned this in the book, I don't know. Anyway, I'm telling you. What had just happened in the Mount, I was living with my family and I was working full-time, etc. But methamphetamine had just hit our community and nobody knew what it was. This is in 1999, 2000. So it was not a drug that anybody knew about and certainly nobody knew what the effects are going to be. What I noticed happened in our community is that everybody had gone from, drinking Waikato or Lion Red and having a joint maybe to trying this new drug. And the new drug meant that the curtains would come down, that there weren't laughs at the table anymore. It was something just took over. And I remember just being like, I don't like this, like something's not cool. And I could see the impacts it was having on family and friends. And that's why I went down to the South Island. I hitchhiked down there because I wanted to get away from just stuff that was happening in our community. And I think it was a real massive saving grace. That was the first thing. Second thing was when I got down to those cherry fields, it was straight after 9/11. And so we had people, you kind of come and you live in the cherry fields and you pick there for 6 weeks or whatever it is. We had people that had been through the cherries through 9/11. So they were there, they'd been on the ground, they'd lost their families. You had people that were, Buddhist monks. You had people there that were contemporary dancers that only ate tofu. You had all this like really eclectic group of people that I never would have met in my life. But we all ended up talking about politics, of which I had no idea about. And just had this hankering desire to know more about this thing called the world. And that was really the start, I think, of my whole next journey, which has gotten me to here.
It just seems like a big leap. Like, how does that happen? So you're this in your late teens, you got dreadlocks, $50 in your pocket, hitchhiking to Blenheim to pick cherries, and then you end up in law school. Like, there's some big bridge in the middle somewhere, but I just can't find it.
Yep, some big bridge in the middle.
Oh, and also you talked about this in your intro. What's the introductory speech called?
Maiden speech.
Maiden speech in politics. You talked about how on your way down to Blenheim, you saw the beehive for the first time, sat on the lawns there, and you wrote a poem.
Yeah, I did.
So you're this real interesting kid.
Yeah. I sort of looked up at this building and was just like, watching everybody very important walking in and out, and I was going, I wonder who they all are. Like, what are they doing? And I didn't really know, like I said, much about politics, and I don't even know if I knew that was. I knew that was where decisions got made. That's about the extent of it. But I was like, you know what? I want to work here one day. I'm going to work here. But the bridge. So we're in the cherry orchards. We're picking the things. I meet some people. They are at uni, and I'd never met really anyone that had been to uni. It sounded horrible. Like, why would you go and, optionally go sit in the classes for hours on end? Sounded ridiculous. But they were really cool, and they were really, really cool. Got to know them. They're like, man, uni's choice. You should try it out. I was like, absolutely not. Long story short, come up here and to Auckland, and my friend wanted to do a te reo Māori course, and she was like, bro, do it. Like, it'd be cool. I was like, well, I wasn't super keen, but I found out you got a student loan. You could get a student allowance. So I was like, I'm in there. What are we doing? Let's go. So from there, and I also worked at a bar, Grand Central up on Ponsonby Road. It's still there now. And I used to work there, every week. While I was working there, this gentleman would come in and sit at, once every month, he'd come and sit at the end of the bar. We didn't shut till 5 a.m. And him and I, we would just debate the nuances of the world. Like, you name it, we traversed it. Then he started bringing in some fancy friends, and they'd been to schools like Harvard and Stanford and all of these things. And everybody, when you're working in hospo, people tend to have like a bit of a yarn. And like everyone, sometimes I'm a photographer when I go out. Like you can all make up who you are. So I thought they were sort of a group like that. But he ended up sending an enrolment pack to my bar to go to law school, and his name was Professor Mark Hennigan, and he was the dean of the law school down in Otago, and that's the guy that I'd been having the banter with. So I still looked at it and went, oh, y'all are crazy, ain't no way. And then I went back hitchhiking the following summer, and we decided to go down to Queenstownish or Cromwellish or whatever, and he said to me, if you're ever anywhere near Dunedin, give me a call. So we hitchhiked down to Dunedin, and I said, oh man, there's this guy down here. He told me to call him if I was ever there. This is before cell phones. Had the old pay phone box thing. I picked up the phone, I called the number he'd given me, and he was like, Kiri, where are you? He came and picked me and all my mates up with our backpacks and, I don't know, shoved them off at his house, and then off he flew me, like, we went, grabbed me, and he pulled me all around the law school. He's like, this is Jimmy, he's studying this, and this is Kiri, she's going to law school. This is, and it's sort of, he opened up a world to me that was otherwise inaccessible, and I'll be forever grateful for him for that, because he made me think that, maybe I can. And so the next February I was enrolled at law school and off I went.
Interesting. So you almost needed someone to believe in you before you could believe in yourself.
100%. Yeah.
I'm intrigued about how much hitchhiking were you doing? Hitchhiking seems like it was a dangerous activity even back then in the early 2000s.
I hitchhiked a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, I loved it. And I've hitchhiked in the US too.
Did anything bad ever happen? Anything scary?
Yes. You have to keep this is one of the reasons I love meeting people, so that was great for that. But every now and then you'd get a bad ride. I know that you always have to trust your instincts, and your intuition always knows. One time I went against my intuition because I was standing outside a taupo. It was pouring down with rain and it was getting really late. And this car pulled over. There was this gold Holden Kingsworth. This car pulled over and I just instinctively knew, no, that's not right for you. Went over, the guy looked a little bit agitated, but I was like, I jumped in the car, and usually I've had situations like that so many times, and I wouldn't have, but I did. And that was a really horrific ride. I feel like he had ill intent. I think that I was working for hours just to keep really calm, just to be able to navigate the situation. I'd say that he would have been very high on methamphetamine. I'd say that he was just honing down roads and just doing all these types of things. He said to me, do you know how to roll a joint? Unfortunately, being the 9th of 10 children, I know how to roll them exceptionally well, thank you. And so I'm like, my hands are shaking, like trying to roll this damn thing. And just, anything like that, just to kind of keep this guy down and chill and off the ledge. And that was a 4-hour trip, and it was one of the scariest moments I've had in my life. But also taught me, remember, your intuition always knows. So I'm glad nothing bad happened. But I had thousands of great rides. You meet like people that will take the shirt off their back, literally, or give you their last piece of food if, that pick you up. You just never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I believe most people are good.
100%.
Most people, yeah.
Yep.
So then when did what did you want to do when you were studying law? Like what did you see yourself doing at the end?
Criminal law.
Okay.
Yeah,
like
so I went in. Yep. So I went in to do criminal defence, and that had kind of stemmed from the fact that a lot of my brothers had been in and out of the justice system, and that was what I'd grown up. I was like, well, either my brothers are inherently bad, or there's some systemic stuff going on that means that guys like my brothers, who are incredibly smart, intelligent, good guys, end up on this track. So what is it? Like, what are the common denominators? So that's why I did law, politics and sociology. And so on the law side of things, I just wanted to understand, there's a couple of things. Who wrote the rules? So that was like in law speak, that's public law, constitutional law. Who's writing the rules and what are they doing with them? And then there was this criminal law stuff, and how are they applying them to people like my brothers? But I never did practice criminal law, not at all. I went down a more public law, constitutional law route, and then into a bit of commercial.
And then politics came along, and I believe you were an intern for a while in Helen Clark's office?
Yeah.
Working directly with the great Helen Clark, or? Oh, no,
sorry.
When you're an intern in her, so this is when she was Prime Minister?
Yeah. So she's got two stories when you're the PM. You got the 9th and the 8th floor. So I was on the 8th floor, and she had so Helen was H1 and H2. So Helen was H1 and then H2 with Heather Simpson. She was like the boss of all bosses. She was the chief of staff, but she was a top dog. And I worked for her, and I did very, very important tasks. Data entry. I'd lick a lot of envelopes. Oh, yep, fold a lot of leaflets. So it was very important work. Basically had all the knowledge of the nation at my fingertips.
Well, how did Michael Cullen become a mentor?
Michael Cullen, he is, first of all, he's an incredible man. I'll give a bit more context to that. So I didn't really used to like Sir Michael Cullen because he was the one that introduced the CBN foreshore legislation. That was, in my opinion, and still is, one of the worst pieces of legislation that our country has been through since like at least the 1960s. And the biggest land grab in one foul legislative swoop. So that was Michael Cullen to me. Then when I first went to run for Labour, I walked into this, this is a tiny little Labour Party meeting. They're very small in the regions, You have 10 people and your cups of tea. And
in a scout hall or somewhere.
Yeah, scout hall, yeah. Well, this is in the lounge. In the lounge is somebody's home. And,
wow.
Cups of tea, some bickies. We have a raffle for the party. That's what a branch meeting looks like. Well, I walk in to go see if I should do this politics thing. I walk in. Sir Michael Cullen is in this room. So, former Deputy Prime Minister, his wife, Anne Collins, who's a former Member of Parliament, Tim Barnett, who was a former Member of Parliament, and there may have been one more. I'm just all in this tiny little house. So anyway, I do my first ever political speech, which I had no idea. Anyway, I did it, and straight after that, Michael Cullen and he was like, "Who are you?" Like, come on, Kiri. That's what he used to call me. But yeah, come on, Kiri. We are going to get you into Parliament. And he was just such a rock steady hand. And, he told me off when I needed to be told off. He was the most supportive when I needed to just have a shoulder to cry on. And so wise. He was so incredibly wise. That when he passed, actually, it was really quite hard. It was really devastating because, you can't really rely on too many people or, lean on too many, but he was certainly one I did. Yeah.
Did you ever give him a piece of your mind about the foreshorings?
Heck yeah. Oh, heck yeah, I did. Yeah, totally. It's like, what were you thinking? And we'd actually have quite robust discussions about it. And I was like, this is the biggest land grab in there. Well, you have to understand. I was like, you legislated the rights of the people to the courts away.
Why did he take a shine to you, do you think?
I have no bloody idea. I think he thought I was... Oh, I've got like a few thoughts on that actually. I do think though, just seeing like a young Māori woman who in his mind was probably articulate, could connect with people of all different backgrounds, was something a little bit rare. So I think he was like, right, I'm going to put a bit of time into this kid.
You had that X factor.
Just a combination of weird things, yeah.
So you entered Parliament in 2017 as like a list MP. Expectation versus reality. Like, when you get there? What's that first day like? Do you get given like a guidebook or a?
You have you go through MP school. So I think it's about 2 weeks. And you get your little packs, and and so there's always M&Ms and stuff like that. Yep, you get your little packs and all your little books, and standing orders and that. They teach you about what side you sit in the house. You have some fake debates. What else do you do? I don't know. They try to be very helpful, but you do have an induction, and then first day of Parliament though, that is. In my life, one of the most terrifying experiences and I snuck. I knew what was going to happen. I knew that there'd be a lot of like journalists there, media trying to, snap out like the silly new MPs. So I went in really, really early, like 6 or 7 o'clock. I went into Parliament because we had our swipe cards by now, and I must have had a mate who had a desk or something. But I went early, and I was like kind of hiding. I don't know if you remember your first day as a high school student with your big, massive backpack on. It felt exactly like that all over. And the place was just terrifying. It was made up of, all the symbolism around the house is, very old men making rules for people. And, I certainly wasn't like that. But as we came out, I was hiding down with some of my colleagues in this room. They were seniors. they're like, come on, we've just got to hoof it, we're going to walk up. And Reno Tirikatene, he was one of the Labour MPs, very tall man. He's like, come on, Kiri, follow me. I know a shortcut. Or it was a secret way. So we're clambering up these steps. And he's just like, stay with me. And he opens up the door and the entire press gallery is just like, he's like, come on. And I just froze and I shoved the door shut. That's what I did. I hid behind the other side of the door and was like, I'm not going, I'm not doing it. So it was my first day at school.
You must be familiar with the term imposter syndrome?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Was that a thing?
Oh, it's a huge feature in my life, massively even. Oh, maybe not so much now, but massive feature in life. Who am I to be right here doing the stuff I'm doing? This is crazy.
How long was it before you felt like you belonged?
Ooh, like in Parliament?
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever did feel that.
Oh, well, that's really sad.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever did really feel that I actually belonged there, yeah.
Why?
Well, that's a good question. Sometimes you feel like a round peg in a square hole. Because I felt out of place there, what I always tried to do was make sure that it was a place that other people knew was theirs, or tried to break down those barriers really young. So I remember this one time, my kid, she was 2 or 3 or something, her whole kohanga reo, so kids under 5 years old, all came down to Parliament. And I just opened up the doors and let them run, because I wanted them to know that this was their place just as much as it was anybody else's place as well, and for them to know that they belonged there, or if they wanted to be there. And just always tried to do that in my life, because it's been such a big kind of insecurity or such an issue trying to find home. So yeah, hopefully I opened up a few doors for a few people to make that place a little less scary.
That maiden speech was really good. Yeah. When was the last time you watched it, on YouTube or somewhere?
Not in a long time.
No. Are you proud of it though, when you think back about it?
I think
Did a lot of thought go into it?
A lot of thought went into it, yeah, definitely. And a friend of mine wrote my pile, which is that thing I started off with. And then, I remember just being like, you really had to come to grips, like, why am I here? What did I come to do? What did I come to achieve? And for whom? And I did, while I was in Parliament, go back and look at that maiden speech once a year, just to make sure I was still headed in the right direction in terms of why my why for coming in.
So the first 3 years you were in opposition, was probably a good way to ease into it, right? So 3 years in opposition and then...
No, we were 3 years in government, but I was a backbencher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Jacinda had got in 2017. It would have been a great way to come in. That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought we were going into opposition. I was like, sweet as, we get like 3 years to go learn the ropes. No, it didn't happen. So 2017, Jacinda becomes Prime Minister. We were... a very, if you remember, on the popular vote, we didn't win. National got more votes than Labour did that election, but Winston Peters went with Labour, and that gave us the majority, and the Greens. So when I first went in, all of the seniors were elevated to ministers, which meant that it was left to the likes of us to kind of do the rest. And so when I first went into Parliament, like maybe about 2 weeks into being an MP, the Chief Whip, who's like how would you describe her? She's like your people manager. She came and said, hey, I want you to be an assistant whip, which means you help run the house for your whole for the government. And you're just going, and that was my first term. Yeah. Were
you surprised at how hard the work is?
No.
Were you expecting it to be hard?
Yeah. I've always worked hard in whatever I've done.
But the hours seem crazy though.
Yeah, no, you've got to,
unhealthy.
They are unhealthy hours, but I was quite well attuned to that kind of workload, but I don't think a lot of people were, to be fair. I think that you need a broad range of skills. There's a lot of reading and policy and, understanding the levers of power, how that all works. Then there's out on the ground, doing all your electorate work, engaging with people, making sure that they are being heard, and you're converting that into something tangible back in Parliament. There's a lot of pieces to it, but I really enjoyed the work. Even though I didn't feel like I always belonged there, I just really enjoyed the work. It was fun, especially those first 3 years. They were a lot of fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Okay, so 2020, so yeah, that's 3 years in. That's when you became a minister under Dame Jacinda Ardern. Minister of Conservation, Minister for Emergency Management, Associate Minister for Arts, Culture and Heritage, and Associate Minister for the Environment. You'd think that would be a role where you're like, great, I can sink my teeth into this. This is a big job and I'm here for it.
Yep, absolutely. And I was here for it and just was ready to run, and I did. I ran quite hard and ran hard while we had the ball. And then I got cancer, maybe like 8 months in or something there. So I was loving it. We were smashing out policy. I had a great office. We were just really on board. Everybody was just pumping. We were stewarding in through some like good legislative reforms in emergency management and in conservation, but just really getting out there. The environment stuff, that was all RMA reforms. That was really interesting. And arts, culture and heritage, we're doing things like Matariki and those types of things, and a whole range of other stuff. So it was great. Loved the job. Then you get cancer, then basically had to take 8 months or something off, or whatever it was. I can't remember how long. And then when I came back, I got promoted. So I lost conservation and emergency management, and I picked up justice, regional economic development, associate minister of finance, and associate transport, I think. So yeah, the job sort of changed completely again. And that was awesome. Like, I love my new portfolios and the work I was doing. But at every juncture, it was quite a different job that you were doing every single time you got back in the saddle.
You never get comfortable, eh?
No, it's now we're moving.
I've got a great photo here. It's actually the your profile photo on your Facebook page as well. So it's obviously something you're proud of. It's yourself and Dame Jacinda. It looks like you're holding court. Sir Ashley Bloomfield in the background. What did Dame Jacinda Ardern see in you?
Heck knows, but do you want to know what? I'll tell you what this photo is going on. So that morning, this is the day of the tsunami. And, well, we had to do a lot of prep the country for a tsunami that may be coming. So we're off. We'd done briefings all morning. It was still in COVID time, so we were doing briefings for the media since like 4 a.m. That day, I had an appointment with the hospital, the Wellington Women's Hospital, because we'd found this anomaly, in my, it became to be my cervix. And so we nearly had to cancel that appointment, but we didn't. So I'm doing interviews, like in the women's hospital, like all non-film ones. So anything radio, I could do all those interviews because it was breaking. It was like, what was happening? And here I am showing Jacinda. I'm like, I think it was Catherine Ryan. I think it was her. I'm doing it. I've got my legs up in the stirrups, and I've got my head AirPods on. I think it was Catherine Ryan talking to her. That's what my hand's doing, saying, look, we're going to get through this just fine. And well, they're taking tests of my cervix. That's
so
what was happening.
You're reenacting an interview you're doing with RNZ.
That's why it was always such a special little photo, that one. But I think with Jacinda, what'd she see? I don't know.
Because she liked you, eh?
Yeah.
She really liked. She rated you.
Yeah. And
you never let her down either.
Yeah, until the crash.
She wasn't around then.
She wasn't around then.
Yeah. What did you learn from her watching her lead?
She was a really good leader. I've worked with a lot of bosses and a lot of people. I think that she was a firm leader. There's things that people don't see. I don't know if they see this. She was very clear and principled, and she lived according to those principles. But she was very firm. She could be quite cutthroat.
Did she ever have to be cutthroat with you?
Never.
No. You never got a telling off?
Did we? Oh. We'd have sit down sometimes. No, I never got a telling off. But sometimes when stuff was hard, we'd have sit down and go, I'm like, man, I don't know what She'd be like, okay, let's walk it and step it out. But she was a great boss. She wanted to see who you were at your core. She was all about bringing out the best of people to weave that kind of fabric together. And I thought that she leaned really well into her team to work out who could bring what to the table. And she was just a very principled person. And so when she left, it was actually very hard because you had such a strong kind of value-based leader who was quite charismatic, and also she took a lot of the hits. You know, a lot of the bad stuff didn't filter through to the rest of us because she took so much of the heat. But when she left, oh my gosh, then a lot more of us got a lot more of the bad stuff that she'd been absorbing. But she was awesome.
Yeah, 'cause she left at the beginning of 2023. Her line was something like, "I've got nothing left in the tank."
Yep.
You must have been sitting there in your office going, "Fuck, I know exactly what you're talking about." Because the next 6 months for you, it was like exactly the same thing. Like when she said that, you must have been like, "Oh my God, I'm having the exact same thoughts."
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah. Obviously, she'd had such a, her role was so much more significant than mine. I do remember just looking at her and being like, wow, you're so brave to be able to hang up your boots, because that must have been one of the hardest things to do, because you feel so much obligation and responsibility to the people that you represent. And yeah, I'm looking at that going, whoa, that's pretty amazing. And I think it was a few months in, that's when I really thought, like, I know what it's like to have nothing left in your tank. And yeah, she was incredibly brave, I think, to take the position, make the move that she did. And maybe one I should have learnt from.
Oh, hindsight.
Oh, hindsight.
Did you ever aspire to be Prime Minister?
No. I think I saw what Jacinda went through, and I think I'd already had a lot of like scrutiny and attention just as a minister, but as a Prime Minister, your entire life it's public property. And I saw what she had to endure, and from that point on, maybe when I was a kid, I want to be a Prime Minister one day. But no, not since seeing what up close and personal that really looked like.
But you were sort of discussed as potential leader of Labour, right? Yeah. At the time?
Yeah.
Your name was sort of bandied around, but you had no interest in it?
No. What I did at that time, things seemed to be a bit of a fait accompli as to what was going to happen with leadership. I wanted it to slow down, because I think it would have been, I thought it was a wise option just to slow down and everybody look at what we've got and how we want to kind of compose the team. So, yeah, that was me. But I never wanted to be the leader of the party, and I nominated Chris Hipkins at the time of the leadership change. But yeah, I just think that job would be really... It's a hard job. It's a thankless job, and I can see why you would want to be in it for a good time, not a long time.
Well, there's always going to be like a large percentage of the population that hate you regardless of 100%. What you do.
Yeah, that's right. It's like really unwarranted. Like if I take our current Prime Minister now, everyone's got something to say about him. Whenever they ask me, I'm like, what do you reckon of him? I'm like, he's actually a really nice guy. Is he the best leader in the world? Well, you can make your own judgments on that. But as a human being, he's a very principled, value guy. That's been my interactions and experiences of him.
Yes, he's a lovely man.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll never see any scandal around there. There's just nothing. Right. There's absolutely nothing.
That's exactly right.
Maybe he's a bit boring, but what do you want? Do we want our leaders to be flawed humans with scars on their backs, or do you want someone to be like perfect and a bit nerdy and boring?
I think we need somebody who can inspire the nation.
Yeah.
That's our problem right now. We're going to an election soon, and who is like really inspiring us to want to get out there and vote and go, yes, here's the vision for New Zealand. This is where we're going. I don't know if anybody's doing that at the moment.
No. So the cancer stuff, I feel like we should, I wasn't sure how much or how little of the podcast this would be, but you said at the beginning it's like the biggest adversity by far you've ever gone through, which to me says it's something feeling important. So April 2021, that's when the diagnosis... Actually, it was a couple of months before that I think I first heard of Kiri Allan. Like it was when you were doing the tsunami coverage on TV.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, fuck, this wahine is impressive.
Yeah,
like she's really good. Like the communication was good. You were sharp. You were on point. Was that sort of peak Kiri Allan, do you think? Was that like your breakthrough role?
Oh, that was like classic Kiri. In a crisis. Here we go, guys.
Roll the sleeves up.
Yeah, roll the sleeves up and get on. Yeah, well, that's kind of how I roll, you know.
But you really shone, though, in that moment, I thought.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was, well, that was just, another day in the office. It was that day. That day there was, we were holding up the old Catherine Ryan photo. Yeah. Then was it April, was it?
Yeah.
That's when the diagnosis came through, yeah.
What were the warning signs that you ignored?
Well, it's sort of a hard one, this. So I had a lot of pain in my back and around my hip area for a long time, and I'd been going to the doctors for ages to try and get pain meds, and I wasn't tested for anything like cancer. I don't know if they should have either, but I wasn't. And so then I started to, you're a boy, so you might not like this, but menstruate a lot, and it wouldn't stop for a long, wouldn't stop. And then there was this one trip I was on. It was a ministerial trip down to Kaikoura, and the car was parked here. There was a fish and chip shop or something just over there, and all I had to do was kind of walk about 40 metres to get from A to B, and I couldn't walk that far. Just my whole insides fell out, and we were just like, shucks, what are we going to do here? So it was after that I went to Aisha Verrill, who was the Minister for Health, but also prior to being a politician, she was a doctor, and I said to her just quietly, I was like, hey, kind of can't stop menstruating and got a real sore back. Do you reckon I should do anything about it? And she just turned to me and she asked me a few questions. And she said, Kiri, it's very important that you go first thing tomorrow and you get a scan. I said, what for? She's like, I want you to hear me. It's really important that tomorrow, first thing tomorrow, you go and get a scan. I was like, oh yeah. So I did. I went and got a scan the next day. And that wasn't free, actually, so that's something we should talk about at some point. I'd pay a couple of $100, but that's a couple of $100 a lot of people don't have, you know.
Yeah, it's a big barrier for entry. Massive.
I was lucky, got in on the day, got the test, came out, there was a thing. And then from there, then we end up going to get all the rest of the tests and it's cancer. But it's like, because I always sort of kind of blame myself, like, oh, you missed the signs. I was like, well, actually, I was kind of going to the doctors. I was kind of trying to get assistance. But, you know, I'd even, I thought I'd missed my cervical smear. I actually was in the 2-year window, so I hadn't missed it. It was just, you know, I don't know if you can help these things.
Also, you're very busy. Like I'm running a podcast. I've cancelled some dental hygienist appointments and some because I'm busy running a podcast. You were like the minister of just about everything. So it's understandable that your job is taking priority over your health. Not you know, it shouldn't, but it's understandable. It's a big job. Yeah,
that definitely certainly occurred, and you can actually see that if you watch a lot of the politicians who come out of Parliament. Give them 6 months and then look at them again. Completely different people.
They age backwards.
And like there's just this complete new zeal for life. But Parliament, because it's all consuming, it just has, you know, all of the things like not for everyone. I think Paul Goldsmith's a good example of somebody that still keeps up with his fitness and health. But for a majority of people, you go in there and, you know, things like health, fitness, all those types of things, they kind of get set to the side because of the just demanding nature of the role. Yeah.
You look at Obama, year one, he looked like he could play in the NBA. By year 8, he looked like Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a good analysis, yes.
So, do you remember being told you've got stage 3 cancer? Is it in person? Is it on the phone?
I got told I had cancer on the phone, and then...
Who were you with?
I was actually on my way to go... speak an event with Helen Clark and John Key about kiwis. I was the Minister for Conservation. So on my way, just flying into Auckland, get a phone call. Hi, Kitty. It's Dr. Blah. look, just need to let you know that the test results have come in and you do have cancer. Boof! I just remember like falling into the wall of the airport, and I had my private secretary with me, and basically said like, okay, who's here? What do we know? She just shut down my events for the night, and my parents happened to have an apartment in town, so we went there. Next minute, my people are all on flights, so they came to Auckland, and we just sat and went, where to from here? And then the next week, we were all down in Wellington getting the full diagnosis, the stage 3C diagnosis, and what that meant, and what options were available to you for, what's it called? Medical options were available to you for treatment.
So you didn't do the speech about the flightless bird?
No. No, I did not.
John and Helen still waiting?
Yeah.
She'll be here any minute now.
Any minute. Oh.
Wow. Oh, my God, that is a lot. It's a lot to take over the phone, isn't it? And when do you phone the Prime Minister?
After I got the full diagnosis, I think, and then maybe I was keeping just her in the loop. I think probably as soon as I got told I got cancer, I would have told her, and she would have kept it just between herself and Chief of Staff. And I was briefing her as we went. And then when we realised that there was going to be a substantive period that I needed to take off for treatment, that's when we started to work together about how we were going to communicate what was going on. Yeah.
Did you think that would be the end of your political career? Like, did you offer to resign, or did you want to resign, or?
No, I was like, nah, this is a blip. We're going to keep on going.
Wow.
And then, but man, we got pretty sick in the middle there, and I didn't know if I was going to make it back. But yeah, no, I had every intention. I was like, you got yourself here. You're going to complete the job that you came here to do. Yeah. Yeah.
How's it talking about that now?
You know, I just wish that if I could tell myself at that time, especially when treatment concluded, I went straight back to work against the advice of absolutely everyone, but Kitty knew best about everything, was to shut up and listen, because I needed extra time to take off work and to actually get myself healthy. And I was so eager to get back to work and just get back in the saddle and do the job. It had significant consequences, I think, some of which fed into what happened at the night of the crash, or, that period of time. Just, I went back, I was exhausted, I was, you couldn't think clearly, and you're just like, no, I'm doing the job. So if I could have done that again, I'd certainly be telling that young girl, hey, bends up for a hot minute.
Would the version of Kitty sitting in front of me now listen to other people, or would she still?
This version? Yeah, she's pretty like, okay. I'm more malleable. I don't know if I'm a complete walkover, but
yeah. So I've got a photo here. I'm guessing that's a good day in hospital.
Yeah.
I don't know, or is it the balloons that are just giving me that perception? You're cuddling your daughter.
I think we just found out, because this was before the public announcement. So we'd all worked out what was going to happen, how we were going to get through treatment, and I'd been crying with just before because I was really worried about baby, and we'd just kind of come out of that and we're going, okay, we're going to be all good. So that's that photo, and then shortly thereafter we told the world.
Mm. What was the darkest period in hospital?
There was a time I really thought I was going to die, and so I underwent this treatment called EMDR, which is a type of treatment. It's a form of therapy, and man, grappling with death was just really, really hard, and I came through to this point where, the mental kind of picture that I had was like having to let your child go, and it was just that was the most traumatizing, I think. Well, the part that I remember anyway. There were lots of highs and lows, apparently. I don't remember heaps of them because I was on a lot of steroids or drugs or whatever I was on.
What would you say to women who delay cervical screening because they are frightened, embarrassed, too busy, or just don't have the spare $200?
Yeah. You're worth it. You're worth it. Your kids are worth it. Your mokopuna are worth it. And you deserve to be okay. So let's do it. And no, it's gross. You know, a lot of people like myself, we don't like to have our bits and bobs looked at and touched, and
What do you mean like myself, like a mouldy thing?
Probably just the person I'm referring to is the one. I was 33. You know, I was busy. I was being Māori, we have quite a lot. Yeah, we've got lower rates of testing, and there is stigma around it. One of the coolest things that happened when I was going through treatment, two of my cousins, they decided to hold a big event at my marae, and they got all the women in from our hapu Perirako into our marae, and it was all about cervical, and they had nurses all set up to do all the testing. They had a whole range of things it wasn't just about cervical cancer, it was, but even like having men there to talk through like why it was important to be tested, support their wives, etc., all that sort of stuff. And that day we just had I think it was 30 odd people from my hapu, which is huge, all got tested for cervical cancer. And I was just like, that is so cool. We're breaking down barriers and boundaries because people are so whakamā, or they feel so insecure or shy and afraid of their bodies that we don't want anybody to know if there's anything wrong. So that was really cool though. That was a cool day when they did that.
Yeah, you must be really proud of that.
Very much so, yeah.
And so 2022, you're back at work after this cervical cancer scare, and this is one of your big things in Parliament, I think, that maybe you don't get enough credit for, I don't know, but you played a big part in establishing Matariki as a public holiday. Yeah. Yeah. What else are you proud of when you reflect on your 6 years in Parliament?
So Matariki, certainly being able to bring that in as the public holiday it is today, definitely one of my highlights being in Parliament, just because it was a cool, awesome thing to do. Some of the other things that I reflect on that I'm proud of that I did in Parliament, being a minister, we had the Provincial Growth Fund, and that was the New Zealand first Provincial Growth Fund. I pulled all of the mayors and tribal leaders from all the Eastern Bay region together, and we created it was like a regional economic development group. And that was chaired by myself and Sir Michael Cullen. We did all of this just by ourselves. We did all of this economic analysis of the whole region, where we should be targeting our efforts, and what types of funds we really needed. We went in with the goal of, I think, trying to get about 100 mil or something like that. I think we came out with around $500 million for our region. That was just solid advocacy. So I love that. That was something I was really super proud of. On the other side, over in Gisborne, COVID hadn't yet hit New Zealand, but China was basically closing shop, and we were a forestry exporting part of the region, and so the logs weren't going anywhere, and this was having dire financial impacts on Te Tai Rāwhiti. So again, that was where I worked with it was so cool. It was with all the council, but it was with all the economic development agencies, with all the private businesses, with the forestry industry. We just all came together, just hustled together, what can we do? What's some solutions here? I pulled down a whole cohort of cabinet ministers. We put up the case, and then that all got funded. Things like that. I mean, those types of things I think are really just as hands-on things that you can be proud of, because it was working alongside your community. As a minister, other things that I really enjoyed putting an emphasis on victims in the criminal justice system. Our victims aren't treated well through the criminal justice process, and it's a really under-resourced area, so put a lot of cladding in around there. And one of the more kind of contentious areas when I was the Minister of Justice was law and order and youth justice. And the first way that we started to treat youth justice issues, we had this big ministerial group And it was all cross agencies, education, social services, oranga tamariki, whatever. I was justice, police. And we worked out a way to wrap around those ones that we could identify as those that were most likely to become, teenage truants. And I loved the way that we did that. I hated the fact that we couldn't get penetration into everyday New Zealand lives, that what we were doing for these young people was good for New Zealand, and it was reducing crime, but it wasn't sexy. We're putting support services and wraparound services around naughty kids. It doesn't really sell papers, like an image of a car smashing through a window, like in a ram raid. Now that sells papers and people can be off about it. And there was so much harm done. But with the way that we could treat those young people so that we made sure that they weren't lifelong offenders, we're much better having them out of jails than in. The younger they go into jail, the more guaranteed we have of an individual being a lifelong criminal.
Yeah.
So it was this real dichotomy that we sat in because, get tough on crime, lock them up. What? So that they can be... For what purpose does this serve? So, we were trying to do something a lot more sort of therapeutic, I guess. But it just didn't penetrate through to mainstream New Zealanders, and we got penalised on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so Matariki 2026 was just like the weekend before we were recording this. Does it hit different for you, knowing your involvement?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I love Matariki for so many different reasons. My daughter's name actually is Hiwa Iterangi, and that's the 9th star of the Matariki constellation. It's the one you throw forth your dreams and hopes and aspirations to. So it hits differently, both because of my involvement with with being able to make that law to introduce the statutory holiday, because of baby's name. And I just love the fact that we are reigniting these practices, looking back on the year that's just gone, breaking bread with our friends and family to talk about what's going on right now, and then having that time just to look forward. Okay, what am I looking forward to in this year that is coming? What are my aspirations? And being able to cast those forth into the ether, whatever you believe in. I just really love that time of year. It's a nice reset. Winter solstice.
I'll tell you something really interesting about it, because it is still a fairly new holiday, right? It's only been going a few years. But on some of my Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups, I've got friends who are like me, pale, male and stale. Yeah. And they're all like going out for star viewing parties and things like that. So it's not just another free day off. It's like people actually buying into the meaning of the day.
Absolutely. That's been the most exciting thing. I too am across so many different types of groups. One of my best mates, she's a hardy, a hunty Tory from farmer, from Taranaki. You know who you are. But man, and as a small business owner as well, and like the way that she just promotes Matariki as something, because it means something for her kids, it means something for the land, it means something. I was like, girl, and it does. It's really hit differently. It's penetrated through, and it's become something. What we wanted when we were introducing that is not for everybody to kind of make up a ritual, but for everybody to feel connected to a place that we call home. And I think by, drawing on Mātauranga Māori, that constellation of stars, Matariki, everybody can start to see, oh yeah, this is a place that I can call home, like at that soul level.
Oh, good on you. Okay, you've still got a fire in your belly when it comes to politics, eh?
Yeah, well, there's stuff going on.
Is there unfinished business there? Never say never.
Oh,
is the door completely shut?
It kind of is, but they always say never, but I feel like it's shut. I feel like that chapter's done. Don't like to go back either, like to go forward.
I don't know. Like, Steve Jobs was once fired from Apple, the company he created.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Who knows what the future brings? Like, you're still really young, eh?
Yeah. I'm 42. I'm getting a bit old now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Winston Peters is still old enough to be your koru.
Yes, you are.
Okay. I've got a card here called 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, how do you feel when you reflect on that year?
Oh, look, it was such a big year, so many different reasons. It's like, it is what it is. Yeah.
So the night of July 2023, that was the night of the car crash.
Yep.
Before we discuss that night, what context does the public need to understand about the state you were in?
Well, I had to describe it to my daughter, and all I sort of described to her is that my mum was really sick at the time. And she asked me why, and I said, well, there was stuff going on at work, there was stuff going on at home, and there was stuff that just is kind of a part of who my mum is that makes me get a bit sick sometimes. And I was really, really sad. So that's kind of one of the ways, I think that's probably the context that every New Zealander who cares about my story. I was really sad and I was really sick and had been that way for a while.
So that's how you articulated it to your daughter, who was like 5 at the time?
Doing that now because of the book.
Yeah,
so we're starting to, because I want her to know my story from us. So we as parents have decided to walk her through the main issues. And that seems to be the most accurate way of describing what the state of mind was at.
Do you think your mental health started to take a turn for the worse after after returning to work after the cancer?
Certainly, yeah. I'll be honest though. I've always had a complicated relationship with my mental health right from very young, and it's always just been a theme that I've had to manage throughout the course of my life. And sometimes I've been able to do that better, and at this time I was very poor at managing it, and just things had all collided. Yeah.
How do you know when it's getting off track? Like it is. I think I had to get mentally unwell to realise to realise when I'm starting to get mentally unwell. And it's
I think that's right.
If I start to get short with people, like if I get unreasonably angry at someone in traffic, it's like it's more about me than about them.
100%. That's exactly it. I know now. I can totally tell now. As soon as I'm starting to get something, I go through a checklist. Okay, have I done this? No. Okay, well that's one reason. Did you do this? Yeah, so I've got my checklist now. I didn't have anything like that back then. I was just like, oh, we'll try and make it as we go. And, I'm being an ogre. And just really, kind of constantly surprised by yourself for being like, just this, I don't know, really sad, down, angry person. So, different now. You can spot the signs.
And when it's in a bad spot, what's your inner voice like? Are you mean to yourself?
I'm so mean. Yeah.
Why do we do that?
Why do we do
wild,
that?
It's wild, eh? It's madness.
Because imagine talking to your kid like that, or your wife or your husband. You're useless, you idiot, you like what, you're just this, you're just this, you're just this. It's like, imagine speaking like that to any other human being, even your enemy. You'd never tolerate that talk to anybody else, but here we are doing it to ourselves.
Yeah.
Everybody will say, look, you're the hardest critic that you'll ever know on yourself, and it's all actually quite unreasonable, but that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no sense.
No.
So, June 2023, I forgot all about this stuff. I was going to say it's fairly minor, but I suppose it's not. But if you're not engaging in the regular mainstream news cycle, you'd probably miss this. So you were accused of bullying by staff. Were you a bully? Or was it just a hard, high-pressure environment?
In my opinion. So, no, I wasn't accused of being bullied by staff. That was so annoying. I got chased by a woman called Andrea Vance who made up a story about it.
Oh, she's a journo, yeah.
She's a journo, for stuff. I write about her in the book. But look, that there was quite a challenging issue for me, and still is. It's one I'm still pissed off about, because I have a particular style. I have very high expectations. I'm pretty clear about what those expectations are. If you don't meet those expectations, you're going to know about it. Some people love that. It's a very direct style. I call a spade, and some people hate it. I think a lot more people like it than they hated it. And I'm still very good friends with many of my staff and former all the various different ministerial roles. But there are a couple of people I think that probably did not like being bossed around by this young Maori girl, and how dare you, this, and at that I'm not even tall, the short little Maori girl. And I think that there were rumbles and complaints, didn't like my style, and so therefore, my question to myself now is, okay, sure, I'm sure I was a prick sometimes, not denying that. But would I change my style of leadership if I was in the role again? No, not at all. I'd continue to have those high expectations that things should be done right. You're a senior public servant. You're on more than $300,000 a year. I have an expectation you're going to do your job. And we have a responsibility to steward through whatever it is that our change agenda. So, no, I don't have any regrets about that. I am frustrated by that story, though, because she could never get anybody to say, this is when and where we were bullied, this is how these things happen, and so therefore. It was real. And you had the likes of Simeon Brown. He just did this onslaught of OAAs on every single aspect of my life, to every single agency. Carolyn Tremaine, who's what is she? She's the CE of MB, or she was. I don't know if she still is now. But she said in her whole tenure, she'd never seen anybody be OAA'd like I had been. She's just said, I've just never seen the likes of it.
What's OAA?
Official Information Act, where I can ask anything about you if you're a minister or a public servant. Yeah. So basically, I could stack up all my questions to you. You have to respond. I think it's in 30 days or something like that. But it was on everything, every little aspect of your life, and they just hadn't seen the likes of it before.
Well, we've been going for an hour 20, and I've found you nothing to be completely honest at this point. So the fact that you're still pissed off about that, especially when you're in a space where you're owning all your shit, good and bad, that to me says, well, it's no wonder that the mistrust in the mainstream media has never been higher, because there's no, in these things, there's often, it's lacking nuance and balance. Yeah.
I just think, and it's also so driven by clicks, and I guess they've all got their quotas, but, Brown and Bleeds at Leeds, or something sexy about, yucky things. And, I just wish that, we had more in-depth analysis about the things that really matter to our lives. We're living in a, cost of living crises. We've got fuel, blah, blah, blah. But people are going out there chasing rabbits. It's like, that frustrated me a lot.
Then there was a couple of other things. There was an RNZ. Your partner was at RNZ, and you made a speech, and you said something inappropriate or something.
I thought it was quite a good speech. So the challenge there was that it was because I was a minister, and I gave them a bit of a backhand because I thought they didn't treat some of their staff that well, and it wasn't just her. It was, it was about whether they were looking inside to be able to promote their own. Should I have done it? Maybe not. Did I enjoy doing it? Yeah. Do I regret it? Nah.
But these things become big news stories. Are you just sitting there rolling your eyes?
Yeah, for that one I was like, what the?
And then a Ming Foon donation.
Oh my God, that's right.
I don't even know. I missed that completely.
So we're here at the police station, just here,
over the road.
around the corner. I was making an announcement on victim support. And Benedict Collins, who was a junior reporter for TVNZ, he'd been setting up his little cameras, and we were like, oh, this guy, and he had a camera on himself and a camera on like where I was going to be speaking. We're like, oh, this is interesting. Like, he's got something. So I have the stand up about victims, and he's like, did you ever receive a campaign donation from Ming Foon? I was like, no, absolutely not. The office I rented was owned by Ming Foon. And that was, they tracked down this. I was just like, wow, no idea, had no idea. Like, it's just like, I had no part in appointing Ming Foon, didn't even really know the guy. But I was renting an office off them for the campaign period, so bang, story.
So it feels like it's like free hit after free hit.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it was like politically driven? Is it sexism or racism? Or
I think it's a combination of all those things. And also, like I said, when Jacinda left, like the target had to go somewhere else, and I was polling pretty high as one of the I was polling.
You're like number 10 in the Labour Party, right?
Yeah, and then when it came down to like the PM preferred. Whatever, when Jacinda left, I think I was second to Chris Hipkins. So it was pretty touch and go. So I think that there was a lot of just political targeting. I think there's also all my demography that I represent, that all played into things. And the opposition really needed a hit, and they did a really effective campaign, I think, of just striking up hit after hit. The problem was, I can say what I want now about it because I'm not in Parliament, but when you're in Parliament, you can't actually defend those things because it comes across wrong. So you sort of just have to say, yep, okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, I apologise if if there was any donation made there. It wasn't intentional. You end up saying all this stuff, but all you really want to say, it's a crock of shit. There was no campaign donation from some dude that I had no responsibility for. This is stupid. It's kind of what you want to say, but you can't say it. So.
Well, Ronald Reagan, former US president, he had a famous quote explaining his losing.
Yeah, 100%. Explaining his losing, so we never do it. So you just have to go.
And don't the royal family have some sort of slogan like that? Don't they? Like don't complain, don't explain.
Yeah, correct. Honestly, it is. It's that brutal. It's just like just suck it up.
But also, if you were doing that, you'd be putting out little fires every other day, wouldn't you?
You really would be.
So all this is going on sort of externally, but it still seems like you're holding it together. You've got this high-powered job, you're crushing it, but on the inside, you're spiraling, you're falling to pieces. I
was breaking, yeah. There was this one day at work, I'd had to do a whole ton of stand-ups over something, I can't remember what, but they were all aggressive ones, and you had to look down the barrel and just hold the line, and I think I did 4 that day, and I just came back up to my office and absolutely just fell hysterically apart, and some of my senior cabinet colleagues had to come in and just be holding you down. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't fucking do this job anymore. Excuse my swearing. I can't do this job anymore. I don't want to be here. And then, it was about 2 weeks later, I think I had the crash.
So people in your office knew. They knew you weren't 100%.
Yeah.
Did you ask anyone for help?
No.
Why with that? Is vulnerability sort of frowned upon in those positions?
I think actually that the party did probably its best to try and support me, knowing that I wasn't well. It was a hard situation for them to manage and me to manage, I think. Hindsight, had something like that happen now, oh God, come on, Kitty, we're not good here. Let's go. But no, at the time I just felt so responsible for. We were right in the middle of this law and order part of the campaign, and this big policy related to youth justice was kind of coming through the trenches, and I felt very, very responsible for that bill, for that policy. And so I just I felt like I couldn't leave work and I couldn't do anything. I didn't want to take the time off. Decisions would be made that I wouldn't agree with, etc., etc. So I stayed, and it was the worst bloody thing I could have done, but I did. And then the rest is history.
I don't know if you want to talk about this at all, or in a little detail or a lot of detail. But when did you start experiencing suicidal thoughts?
Yeah. Gosh, that year there was a lot. I'd say one of the things too I'd say about that is that I've probably always had, I've mentioned that I've always had battles with mental health stuff just throughout life, but also suicidal ideation has always been a part of that mix here, not always at forefront of your mind. But that year, just because of the thing upon thing upon thing, I was really at a quite an end point, and I'm quite fortunate that I was not. I didn't know what I was doing because I think things could have been a lot worse. But yeah, I'd begun to stockpile pills. Probably a couple of months before the crash, and so the night of the crash, I had been drinking in my office, and by then I wouldn't have been. I'd probably had a can or something drinking in my office. It was a Sunday night. Come down to do. I always come down on Sunday night and do all my readings, etc. And I was just at this absolute loss as to why I was in this office. I just kind of had to sell this policy to New Zealand that I didn't believe in about locking up kids. And I found myself back in the beehive being, why the hell are you here, man? You came in to do one thing and you've just done the exact thing that you said you never would. So, yeah, I just remember cracking a pal, then I called a few mates, but everybody, like, people just went around. So, and I knew I wasn't good. So yeah, I took my stockpile box of pills and took my box of pals and went out to somewhere around one of those bays down in Wellington. Sat there, drank my pals, and started to take my pills. And yeah, and I was I'd been speaking to a friend, and so I started to drive over to that friend's house, who lived probably about, 5 k's, I don't know how long, but lived over the opposite side of the bay. And I think I was crying, it was raining, I'd been drinking, and then must have taken the corner wrong, crashed into the parked vehicle. And when that happened, obviously people came outside of their houses. And the thing I can remember is, that's Kiri Allan. And so I'm like, I'm quite manic at this point. I'm like trying to get the car free, like, because I can't remember how it all was, but it was stuck and I couldn't move it, couldn't get it off the road. That's Kiri Allan. So I pick up my phone and I start ringing, like I have to just starting to do all the Parliament side of things. And I just remember I wanted to get away from that Kiri Allan thing, being on my phone and just walking. I just walked and I talked on this phone and just talked to whoever I needed to be talking to. And that's the time that they say I did the sprint. It wasn't a sprint, it was a paced walk. Actually on Strava, you know, the running app, there's this place called the Kiri Allan Sprint. So if you're ever in Wellington, I've made it. I've cracked it.
Oh,
it's a Kiri Allan Sprint.
Yeah, because the police found you like 500 metres away or something.
They found me somewhere. I still don't remember where. But yeah, they found me down the ways. And
just like a sidebar thing, how does that feel knowing there's like a segment on Strava?
I think it's like kind of like a badge of honour. No, it's kind of funny. It was funny because my mate who's a runner showed me, and I just thought, oh God, here we go. But no, it's you got to laugh at these things. But yeah, so they found me down the ways, and at this point, we sort of started out in a reasonable discussion. I wanted to speak to a lawyer. They said no. I said it's my right to speak to a lawyer, and where we were, there was enough space for me to be able to speak to the lawyer, or I could have spoken to one in the cop car, but they kept refusing me, and so we got into this. Went on for quite some time, and so they eventually arrested me for failure to accompany, and they sort of slammed me down on the. It was rough. They slammed me down into the police car, and you do what they do and yank you and handcuff you in there. Anyway, we end up down so by this time, I talk about in the book, I'm like, and I was just a right dick by this point. I turned into a really manic dickhead. So I have nothing but respect for those officers that had to deal with that manic idiot that night. So I think despite all of like the mental health challenges that were going on, and that certainly provides context, but at the end of the day, you make choices. And I made choice to be a real dickhead that night and be very, what was I? The main thing that I was doing, I was just like, really what was I doing? I was just in shock, and I was in this manic state, and just like my mates who were there, they're like, bro, just chill. And I'm like, I am chill. I'm just not. Yeah, so she was all over. And then the interesting thing that I don't think many people knew was on the alcohol, blood alcohol level, I was actually under the threshold for prosecution. So I got like a $250 or $300 fine, and that was it. You couldn't be prosecuted for what was in my body. But and had it been a couple of years ago, you wouldn't have got anything. But yeah, I got a fine, but it came across like I murdered somebody. But in saying that, I kind of deserved a lot of what I got that night, even though the facts weren't always accurate, because I was a real dickhead, and I was a person in a position of power. They must have been like freaking out as well. What are we going to do? Here's the Minister of Justice absolutely losing it. So it just would have been a real complex situation. And then after that, I by this stage, all the media had staked out the joint, had staked out the cop shop, and they were waiting everywhere.
Wow.
My mates were sneaking in hoodies and beanies, and Chris Bramwell, she's the chief of staff for the Labour Party now, and she was working for somebody. Oh, Grant Robertson. She's one of my good mates. She rolls in. She has this like beanie and this hoodie up, and she's ex press gallery. So everybody, they're all her mates that are sitting outside, and I was like, "Who are you? You look like this drug dealer coming into my thing." So yeah, like those guys coming in. Everyone was kind of coming in, but they're like, "Bro, you can't." Like they had a Crown car limo waiting for me outside to get me to wherever. And we were all like, ain't no way, I'm not getting in that. So my mate, who was my lawyer, Fiona Cleary, she had this little, old nanny's car. And in her little nanny's car, she had a blanket. So she went to the other exit. They shucked me into this car, had a blanket over me, and they took me back home to my apartment. And they locked that all down. And I continued to be manic. And then my family arrived and people started to come in. And yeah, then I got chucked in another car, driven up to Tauranga, and I didn't leave Tauranga for about 10 weeks.
Yeah, so you're in custody and processing for like 4 hours or something?
I don't know.
4 hours?
I can't remember.
So that's at night. Then you get back home. Do you crash out and sleep after that, or are you just, is the magnitude and the gravity of the situation?
Gravity of the situation. Everybody's at my house by this point, like, because we've got a complex situation now to manage. I wrote a resignation letter at like midnight, and my friends wouldn't let me send it until at least the morning because, you have to think about this thing. And I was like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm over it. I don't want to be here anymore. So I resigned that morning. But yeah, at home, no, everybody was on watch, just trying to keep their little cousin or their sister or their whomever calm.
Survive the night.
Survive the night. And then my cousin and one of my best mates, they came down and picked me up, and that's when they took me to Tauranga in the afternoon of the following day.
Did you have to call or speak to the Prime Minister, Chris Hipkins, or
yes.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
When did that happen?
Well, I wrote to him first thing in the morning. I think I spoke to him that morning as well. It's all a little blurry, to be honest. Yeah.
Was it an option to keep your job, or was it just...
Yeah, I mean, I was an elected MP. I can keep my job. So there's no way you can...
so you weren't sort of forced to resign or anything?
Not at all. No. I mean, obviously I was going to have to... my ministerial warrants would have been revoked, I presume. You can't be a minister if you've just crashed your car and you've been drinking. But not as an MP. No, I can stay on. But I really wanted out. I just did not ever want to... I just done. I was done.
Just done with everything.
Done with everything. And yeah, so they're like, hold on, don't write your resignation letter there. I was like, I'm written it, it's gone. I'm out. I'm done.
I can't remember what the Prime Minister Chris Hipkins said about it at the time, but you were a fierce defender of him, like you pushed for him to be leader after Jacinda left. Did he do enough for you? Did he have your back?
Being a leader of a political party is the Prime Minister. You've got a lot of things on your plate that you have to juggle, and I think he did the best job that he could have in a really trying circumstances. And in hindsight, could we have done better? Could we? Probably, but I think he did as best he could with what he had at the time.
What did it feel like? Writing that resignation and then writing a statement ending your ministerial career. This
felt liberating.
Did it?
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah, it did.
Interesting.
I was still on my manic. I was manic for quite some time, to be honest. But it felt liberating.
And then, you were obviously surrounded by really good people. Were you shielded from like the media coverage and social media?
Didn't see any of it.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
And every time I did sneak it, like my phone, to try and see it, I'd be like, whoa, and then somebody come and steal my phone and lock it away. And Bob's your uncle.
When you Google it, this one comes up from The Guardian.
Yeah.
New Zealand Justice Minister Kiri Allan resigns over careless driving charges. It's the fucking Guardian.
Yeah. Well, it was The Guardian. There was there were a lot of international outlets, I think, that did report on it. I know there was The Guardian, there was others too. I just can't remember who.
But here you are, the rawest and lowest and most vulnerable moment of your life, and it just must feel like the whole world's attacking you in a way.
Yes. Yeah, it did. I just felt so much shame. Just the shame was unbearable. Well, it was so... The shame and the regret and knowing you'd caused all this harm, because it wasn't just me that crashed a car and blah and blah. I represented something to people. I represented that you could be like young and female and whatever, come from this background, and you could walk the halls of power just as confidently as anybody else that came in through their tracks. And when I did that, that was the shame and the grief that I was carrying. So I'd just let down all of those people that had looked up to me saying, we can do it too. So that took a very, very long time for that to heal.
In hindsight, do you think the Labour Party could have or should have done more to protect you before the crash?
Oh, well, they were dealing with a pretty stubborn-headed minister, so what do? I was like, hey, I don't want to take more time off. No. Could they have done more? Maybe. But, yeah, I also have to take a lot of responsibility. I was pretty stubborn and intent on what I wanted to do.
Yeah, it's like that saying, you can lead a horse to water.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I love your attitude about the whole thing. There's a book, I've referenced it in the podcast so many times. It's by a US Marine guy called Jocko Willink, called Extreme Ownership.
Yeah.
And it's just about like owning everything in every situation.
Yeah.
Like not blaming anyone else. And it seems like you're doing just that.
Yeah, it is, like you've kind of got to, like this is my story, this is what happened.
Yeah.
I was an absolute dick over here. But then, then you'll see me press up pretty hard on other things where I don't think it's right, like bullying stuff. I don't think that was fair.
Is there anyone, since that's a media reference, I suppose this question could reference media or just like general members of the public, but was there anyone whose kindness surprised you?
So much.
Yeah?
So much. I won't name her, but she was a former, I'll just say that she's a former very senior National Party staff member, very, very senior. She reached out probably the first days following and did not stop reaching out to me for every single day for about a year.
Why wouldn't you name her?
I don't know if I can. I haven't asked her, so I should have asked her before I did the stuff.
But that to me just says that's a thoroughly decent human being.
Oh, thoroughly decent human being who cared and could see what was going on. Another one was Nikki Kay. I can name her. She was a great human being, but as soon as everything went down, she too felt like she'd left under a little bit of a cloud when she left politics, and basically would sit and talk to me about it not being like, this is not the end of the world. Things actually are going to be fine. Like, now let's talk about how you're going to make a living. Like it was real practical based things. So, I mean, I give those examples because they're probably in New Zealand public's mind the last people that you'd ever think would reach out. No, I had people of all walks and stripes. I was so overwhelmed with the graciousness of New Zealanders towards me, leaders, everyday people, whatever. I was overwhelmed with the love and kindness. Don't even know if it was warranted, but they gave it.
Well, that's so nice about Nikki Kay. The late Nikki Kay. I've had her on the podcast. I had her on in like year one of the podcast before it was even a video thing. And she was great. There are parallels with you and her being in Parliament, having really important roles and having cancer. She told me on the podcast, like she phoned John Key and said, I'm going to have to resign. And she quoted him saying his response was, "You're not fucking leaving." Yeah. Which I loved.
Yeah.
What about anyone from the media? Are there some people that are just like you've completely washed your hands with because they saw it as an opportunity for a free kick?
Yeah, totally. Nah.
What about Mikey Sherman, the former TV1 journalist? Like I saw on your Facebook, when she won an award recently, you did like a congratulatory post to her.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So something like, I mean, there are great people like Mikey. I mean, everybody's good, I'm sure. But there were people like that. I mean, and Mikey savaged me on the day of the crash. But, that's her job and I've got mine. But at the end of the day, if you've got some, common ground and respect for each other, those things kind of override everything else. So, Yeah, look, I've respected the media and their roles, but some took it a bit far. I name Andrea Vance. I think she took things too far. Tracy Watkins, I thought she was. They ran a story about how dogs had chased me the night of the incident, and I got in touch with the dog handler to see, like, did your dogs chase me, bro? And he's like, no. Yes, and they wouldn't retract it. So, these silly things like that. But you remember them all. What was said and done at the time.
So you're doing some media now for this book. Is there anyone that you've said to the publishers, absolutely effing not?
Yeah, totally.
Who's in your burn book? Andrea Vance.
Yeah. I was like, back to Andrea Vance.
No, you don't have to name names.
No.
Well, another guy I've had on the podcast, Steve Williams, who was the caddy of Tiger Woods.
Yes.
So he did the podcast, and Stuff, I think, wrote a story about him many, many years ago when insinuating that he should have known about Tiger's infidelities.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, nah, I'm not having anything to do with them, even though it's a completely new turnover of staff there now. But he's just not interested at all.
No, I'm still the same. Yeah. No, still the same.
Yeah. Oh, good on you. Okay, so where do you start to rebuild after that? Like, I don't know. And that car ride up to where did you go? Bay of Plenty? No.
Yep. Tauranga. Yeah.
That car ride. So who's in the car with you?
One of my best mates and my cousin. Yeah.
And what are you like? Are you just like a broken? Do you feel like a toddler again? Like
yes,
a broken, vulnerable?
I was a broken, vulnerable toddler sitting in the back seat, like rocking. Yeah, it was my cousin Chelsea and Mika Whaitiri, who's a former MP. They were the ones that were driving me up the country, and they were literally dealing with somebody who was just like literally manic and cuckoo in the back being like, what? Oh my god, yeah, it was terrible. So that's at your most broken, and that period went for a period, and then, God, that was a long time. But then, like the road home, I guess you're asking about how do we come back.
Where do you begin?
Where do you begin?
When did you start to feel like your old self again?
Oh, man, no. Oh, okay. Well, was that me?
Is that my phone or yours?
I think it's you.
I'm going to mute mine just in case. No, keep going. Yeah, so when did you...
Yeah.
Or where do you even begin?
You begin, well, for me... every day I was jumping in freezing cold water. We had a jetty just outside our house, so that was one thing, just to be alive. I was walking the dogs for an hour a day. It was so little. Everything was so little. And, like, the act of walking the dogs was just huge because there were people that would pass you. And this is in the quietest part of nowhere. Like, we're in a very sheltered area. Like, 3 people could pass you. And I could just be like, they know who I am. And I've just broken, I've just done the worst thing in the world. So that was a period for quite a long time. I ended up going over to Thailand at a point in time just to get away from everything, and it was great. No one knew you, no one cared, and I just focused on things like eating well, yoga. I was doing a lot of Muay Thai and those types of things, and therapy, and just being really locked in on getting well. That was a really positive, but that was like 6 months in, and then I'd say I remember my first big public outing event was the following February 2024. I went to Waitangi, and that's like an environment I know like the back of my hand, been going there since I was 16, and just been swarmed by people and just feeling that overwhelming, again, sense of like shame and guilt because you let everybody down. I was very fortunate to have it be with a couple of my tribal elders, and they just locked me in, but it was definitely an iterative process. It's probably, now I'm fine. But yeah, she took a while.
Do you remember how long it was until you like laughed or felt happy again?
Yep, I do. It would have been approximately 8 months. Because I know where I was. I was in Thailand.
That's a long time to be bummed out, eh?
Yep. And see nothing but like dark cloud, and no, I was very clear. I knew that suicide was my only option, and it was just a matter of time. And despite what anybody or any person could have said to me, ain't no way that I was going to survive that, because I could not see a smattering of light anywhere for that 8 months. And I remember that day that I was in my room, I was in Thailand, I had some music playing, and I sort of got up, I must have been dancing or something, and then I just started cracking up, like laughing, hysterically, like laughing. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, shit, this is joy. And I could literally physically, it felt like see a light. Like I was like, oh. And it's just, that's a really long time to not see the light.
Who were you in Thailand with?
I just went over to like a health and well-being.
Oh, like a retreat thing.
Yeah.
You're being in that space where you're considering taking your own life. You say to people, you got to hang on to hope, because without hope there's nothing. But if the last 100 days have been shit, and there's nothing to suggest that day 101 is going to be any better, you can see why people give up. It just seems impossible.
It does. It was impossible. Like there was nothing good was ever going to come. You had your shot and you'd screwed it, and I think I'm not a therapist, so I can't talk about whatever the science is behind all this stuff, but I can share from my own experiences is that when suicide feels like it's my only option and the only way out, there's so many lies that go through your head that you believe. Like I firmly believed that the best thing for my child was that if I was just not here, the best thing for her life was always going to be this. And that was 100% belief. So therefore, this was an act of love. It was an act of kindness. It was an act of like, get out of the way, because you're just destroying this person's life, or you're going to. And, and you feel like that every single day for 100 days, 200 days, however long it is. And and just the self-talk, the lies or whatever it is, it's so hard to escape. But what I had wrapped around me was like, I have family and friends, and I mean, I would not have survived without those family and friends. Like, somebody was always with me every single day, every single night. Not once was I ever alone. And that is huge.
For how long?
Months. Months and months. Like, I don't ever remember being alone.
It's a huge act of love. Did it annoy you? It was like, God,
totally. Get out of my space. Okay, we're just saying, But the road to recovery is slow, and I remember faking it a lot too. How are you going? Oh, you must be so. How are you? No, I've been really good, eh? No, you're all good. I'm just loving things. Yeah, it was a bit of a rough ride there, but she's all good now. Because, there's nothing worse than pity as well, eh? You don't want to be seen as weak. You don't want to be pitied upon.
Especially if you're a proud person like you are.
I was like, oh, no, it's fine.
So did you ever engage with a therapist like prior to the car crash, or no?
Yeah, I did, but I was real ad hoc in my approach. I went through heaps. It was just like whenever there was a mad crisis, I'll go and see somebody once or twice and be like, hey, okay, you suck. This is not working. But since the crash, I set it up with my therapist probably about 3 days later, and we're still in our little therapy relationship now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And when did you stop thinking about dying and start focusing on living again?
Post Thailand. Yeah. Was that breakaway.
Like a circuit breaker?
It was a circuit breaker, yeah. But still, there are a lot of stormy nights that were to follow. But at least to be able to start to think and hope about living again. I was very lucky too. A couple of my tribes, Ngāti Rangi Nui and Ngāti Rangi, they in particular just came and wrapped around me like so tightly. They were not going to let you go. And I've got immeasurable gratitude, and I owe a lot of debt to so many people that just wouldn't let you go. And I think, I know I was really lucky to have that. And I think what I try to say in the book, or why I decided to share the story, is, well, you know, so much of the stuff we go through on us by ourselves, where like it's a lot of loneliness, there's a lot of isolation, you can't be vulnerable and share your weaknesses because, you know, whatever. And we just don't talk, like real talk with each other for a whole range of different reasons. And especially in New Zealand, man, we're really bad at it. So what I'd hoped to do in the book was to be able to say, look, you're not alone. Like, some of us go through it too. And to people that are helping their mates go through it, what I hope they take away or you know, you can help share, is that the more you can just stick it out and be there. You don't have to, you know, do much. Just be there. You could be working on your computer, being there. You know, it's just that proximity to person, or just knowing that somebody's got it. Because I think that's where I would spiral, is like, I'm bad for everybody. But if somebody's right behind you, like, I've got you, bro. And ideally, a few of you say you don't have to carry the load by yourself, but
do shifts.
Yeah. They did do shifts. Yeah. They literally did shifts. No, it's just like, you know, when you're in that state and you know that people have got your back, even if you don't really want them around, that's the biggest kind of act of kindness and love that people can do. And I think that if more people knew that, what it meant to, like, keep your mate alive was just to sit there and not even have to talk, I reckon more of us would be doing that freely and easily.
It's a really good point, because you don't need the answers.
Nah.
You don't have the answers, and you don't need the answers, and you don't need to fill the void with words.
Yeah.
I've had Grant Fox on the podcast.
You
know, the old All Black, Ryan Fox's dad, and he's got a saying: "How do you spell love to your kids? Time. Time."
Yes.
And it's the same as what you're saying here.
Yep.
It's just like spending time with people in their hour of need.
That's a great saying, Grant Fox.
Okay, so when you change your mindset in Thailand, so you start focusing on living rather than thinking about dying, I suppose then it's the reality kicks in that you had this job, like $300K a year or whatever, and what are you going to do so where do you start to rebuild professionally?
You freak out. I mean, it's it was for me anyway. I was terrified. You know, you got mortgages to pay and kids to feed.
Your life goes on.
Life goes on, and things just figure themselves out. That's how I found it. Like, obviously, I had a big work career before going into politics, but what happened? I set something up. You get your first little, you know, people probably feel sorry for you and give you a contract, go out and do it, and then, you know, then all of a sudden you've got people working for you. You're doing work that you enjoy, and things just will work out. You just got to have a bit of trust and faith, because it's scary in the interim.
Suppose you just got to start, take that first step, and
correct. Yeah. I agreed to write the book right early stages, because it's like, damn, I'm gonna need money.
I don't know if you know, but writing a book in the NZ is not that lucrative. Have you forgiven yourself?
Yeah.
Did you need to forgive yourself?
Shit, yeah, I did.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did. I needed to forgive myself because I hated myself for what I did. And that journey of forgiveness and love, self-love, I don't want to preach this too much because it's a constant ongoing battle journey. It was grueling, but to be able to take that hate away from yourself and say, buddy, I forgive you, man. Like, yeah, you made a dick move. You did that. And right, you got to let that go now, because there's plenty more hills to climb. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's sort of where I came to.
How have you changed as a person since leaving Parliament 3 years ago?
Oh my God, everything's changed.
Yeah.
One is that love language of time. My kid has my time. That's huge. So she's got my time, and I still am really busy on the work front. Work's always going to be a big part of my life. It's where I get my sense of self-identity and all those types of things. But instead of like going work, then family, then blah, I've gone family, then work, then blah. And that flip switch is like huge. And that's not just my daughter, but that is my my siblings, my parents, my aunties and uncles, it's family is really first and then filter down. That's one of the biggest differences. I think, second, I'm a lot quieter now. Which is an invitation to peace a little more. And you don't have so many people in your life all calling, I've decided to make my kind of circle of, my circle of loved ones is my family. And that's where I kind of centre myself. It's my social time. It's my fun time. It's my pain time. But just my world has shrunk a lot and it feels peaceful.
Yeah, it's good, eh? It's like shaking an apple tree.
Correct.
Getting rid of the bad ones.
Correct.
You realise who your true friends are when adversity happens. So a bad mental health day now, what does that look like for you? So everyone has them.
Yep. I can tell straight away. Nothing, for me, it doesn't need a trigger. I can wake up and just be like, what? What's going on? I know if I'm clocking it, then I'll know, okay, So I do a few things. I bring myself back to the present. This type of thing with my fingers.
Was that a technique from a therapist or?
No, it's one I just do myself.
You saw it on TikTok, didn't you?
I've never seen it on TikTok. But you'll see, if I'm in a conversation with you, I'm doing this, it means I'm like, I do it all the time.
What is it? Is it a mindfulness thing or?
I don't know. It's just a sensory thing.
Right.
It brings me right down to myself. Like it just, even in conversations, I can be doing that. It'd be probably because I'm stressed about something. So if I feel that I'm off, I need to check whether I've taken my meds. I need to check whether I've gone for a walk or done something to move myself. And I need to check. I need to remove myself from people. Not for a long time, but I just need to re-regulate. But usually, if I have, it's one of those three things that's triggered the bad mental health day. Even like a bad day. Like for example, I'm terrified of the book coming out. Terrified of the reviews. I hate doing all the media stuff. It's what you got to do apparently. So I know we are already preempting. I'm going to have a lot of anxiety at that time. So putting in a plan. We're putting in a plan in place now. Okay, when all of that stuff breaks, where am I going to be? Well, I'm going to be nowhere near any media, nowhere near a phone. And your people who love you that know what to keep away from you, and that's what we'll do.
Because I don't know if you're the same at all, but I'm guilty of when I know what I need to do for my mental health, and I know all the right things to do, like a cold shower or exercise and eating well, and not drinking much booze or journaling, whatever it happens to be. Yeah. But when things are really good, that's when all that stuff drops off, and I forget about it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And then you crash.
Yeah. Okay, what would you say to a high functioning person who appears successful but privately is close to breaking? I suppose I'm talking to someone like you 3.5 years ago.
Yeah. I actually work with a lot of political leaders and CEO type leaders now, and have this conversation frequently. It is a few things. Like, it's very isolating role, being in leadership when you're at the top. You can't talk to many people, etc. So my first question usually is, who have you got in your corner? Like home life, work life, both. Like, who have you got in your corner? Because you need to be able to dump. You need to be able to talk. You need to be able to get stuff off your chest. Then the next question is, well, really, if you look at everything, what can you say no to? You have to say no to something. So what are you going to say no to? Because usually, somebody who's high functioning, they just do it because they can. But there just gets to this point where there's far too much on your plate and it breaks. I was having to have a chat with somebody just recently who is in a leadership role, and it got right down to the most littlest thing. So she could talk to me because she felt like I understand her. And we got right down to the littlest things about, the critique of her clothing was really bringing her down because she was in a public role. The critique of her clothing was like, it was something that small, right through to not being there for her kids, blah, blah, blah. And we just started to unpack all the different issues. I was like, bro, this is the stuff that we've got to just have out on the floor all the time. I can't contain that stuff. So if I was to have that conversation with this person or myself 3.5 years ago, who's in your corner? Who are you talking to? Who's got your back? And then secondly, what can we cull? Where can we actually say no? And put some boundaries in place. Probably be a couple of things I do.
Yeah, that's great advice. Do you find these people are more open to talking to you?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, you're a safer ear.
I'm a safe ear. Yeah.
What does success look like to you now?
I think success is sort of like freedom for me. It's like success is like freedom to create, do the things in the world that, I think are valuable. I like success is being able to make my kids kapahaka when it's in the middle of a day on a Thursday, which I've got stacked out. This is a real life example. Stacked out with things I've got to be in a different country for, and then picking up the phone and cancelling that trip overseas and cancelling that gig because I'm going to be at kapahaka. 3 year ago, me would never believe myself that I just said that. So that's success. Success looks like, living to the rhythm of your own beat, whatever that beat looks like. And I'm enjoying doing that. Can get a bit boring sometimes. Sometimes success looks like boredom. Ain't no lie. That's freedom. And success also looks like a great bloody chip shot onto the green.
Are you a golfer?
I enjoy golf. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You go all right?
I started at the start of this year, and I love it. My handicap's come down. Still got a lot way to go down, but I love it. It's so good for my mental health. I should have said that. I could do a whole podcast on why golf is good for your mental health.
Do you prefer to play alone, or you play in a foursome, or
I play alone by myself a lot because for me it's the 2 hours. I just play nines. 2 hours, vitamin D. I'm off my phone. It's the one and only time I'm really just away from my phone and not checking anything. I'll check it once in the 2 hours. And you're focusing on this stupid little round ball. It's ridiculous. It's what a ridiculous hobby, but it's just you against yourself. I love playing with other people too, but I actually prefer playing by myself.
What's the best hole you've ever had? Have you had a birdie or an eagle?
Yeah, birdie, yes. Not an eagle, no, not that good. But I remember my best hole was in Whakatane. You know how you remember it all? You got like the mean drive, and then I got my 3-wood, and then I thwacked it. It was like low and slow, and it ended up being about like this far from the hole. Yeah. That was my best hole.
I play ever so occasionally, but every now and then you have a shot and it'll be exactly how you imagined it to go, and it's
100%.
Like, oh my God, that's amazing.
This is why I keep playing. I know I'll do it again.
When was the last time you cried?
Ooh.
Are you an emotional person? Were you an emotional person, or are you now?
I am. I feel like it was recently. No, it was. It was yesterday. There we go.
Really? What about?
I was reflecting on this time of life because I knew I was coming in to do all these conversations, and I was like, it was really around that shame and grief and fear, and just like remembering the weight of what that felt like. And it was a trauma, so there was a trauma there. Yeah.
Well, so if you pause and think about it too long, it can still make you emotional.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've held it together great today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it difficult? Like, do you have to, for a chat like this, where we've been going for like just over 2 hours, do you have to sort of brace yourself for it? Steel yourself heading into it?
Yeah. Yeah, you talk to yourself about like, first of all, I give myself permission to be free and to be vulnerable and to actually just be in the moment, because politics teaches you the opposite. Don't be free, and I found myself, I'm in the constant tension. Am I a politician, or am I just being me sharing a yarn? And that second one, it's a little harder to get to. It's like, no, you wrote this book because you wanted to be raw, authentic and honest, so do those things. And that means carrying it through to here. So you've got to give yourself a little pep talk before I'm like, okay, Okay, let's go.
You got this. You got this.
You got these. Yeah.
Why the title? Why is it called Go Hard or Go Home?
It's been my mantra ever since I was little.
Yeah.
Like, go hard or go home. So run while you've got the ball and then get the hell out of the way. That's how I feel about everything.
And the only people in your life that really matter are, close family, friends, whānau, the people that were around you for that 10 weeks after your absolute rock bottom. Say they were in the next room and they had to come up with 3 words to describe you. What would you like them to say?
Oh, well, I like them to say. I thought you would. What
do you think? What do you think they would say about you as a person?
I think they'd say that maybe 3 words: brave, resilient. They're probably the same, and real. I think that I'd get away with all 3 of those words. Yeah,
they're good words. And if there's a part 2 of the book, what would that be called? What's the next chapter?
Ooh,
I feel like you're not done yet, eh?
Something's there. Don't know what it's going to be called yet because I can't quite see what it's going to be.
Have you got itchy feet though, in terms of like career aspirations still, or are you quite happily with a simpler life?
Oh, it's an interesting thing. I mean, I run 4 businesses, and life is busy, but I feel like there's still something somewhere that I haven't quite unpicked yet. So I don't know what that looks like or what that means, but I'm sure it will come along in time.
And this election, who do you vote for? Are you red for life?
I will vote for the team that probably inspires me the most. So I'm a big believer in things like capital gains tax. Great to see that Labour are campaigning on that this year. Really pro-environment and environmental policies. So whoever's got those. I would like somebody to really paint a vision for what Aotearoa can be, and I'm not seeing a lot of that vision being cast forth at the moment. So I think just in terms of predictions on the election, I think it'd be I think it's going to be unlikely that we'll see a change of government. I think we'll see a weaker National, a stronger New Zealand First, and probably an equivalent act. And because I think New Zealanders will want to give them another go. I don't know. That's my prediction. I mean, I'd like to change government. But because they did nothing on climate change. It's frustrating.
By the way, you just answered my question without actually giving me an answer. Once a politician, always a politician.
Yeah.
Still got it.
Yeah.
Still got it. But politics, would you ever, knowing what you know, would you want to do it again?
No,
you were really good. You were really good.
Yeah, thank you. No, like, this is a funny question because my answer is no, because I can't envisage being there again. And also I think there's a lot of other places and spaces you can make change. And I think some of the stuff I'm doing is in those realms. Somebody asked me that question though, and I said, they're like, would you really ever forever say no? Never. I said, well, it's difficult. You can never say never because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. But from the place that I sit right now, I can't see it. Not a shiz show, but who knows what comes tomorrow.
Well, this has been a great podcast. Kiri Tapu Lindsay Allan, your nana's name, your granddad's name, and your whānau name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
You wear them with pride?
I do.
Yeah. This has been a great podcast.
Well, thank you very much for your time. It has been. It's been a good yarn.
I really appreciate
You've asked me some good questions I haven't thought about. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's great.
Well, it's been a couple of years in the making, but, all these things happen when the time's right.
I think so.
And, hey, good luck for the book and good luck for everything the future brings.
Thank you so much, Dom. You too. This is cool. You guys are doing God's work.